Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. John Kelly, profile here, and welcome. Welcome to part 50, Delphi murders. Who killed Libby and Abby? I can't believe we're at part 50, and I don't see an end in sight with all this different stuff that's going on up there. I mean, I think there's gonna be a lot here that we're gonna be reporting on. Okay. Today on part 50, the name of our show is Could One Man Have Done This? And I would like to put out there that everybody's innocent of proven guilty in a court of law. Certainly, Richard Allen is innocent of proven guilty in a court of law. At this time, I'd like to thank you all for my book, all the purchases, all the great feedback. I can't thank you enough, really. I mean, you really made Discovering Lazarus a success. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of John Kelly, how he kicked a horrible cocaine habit, became a counselor, psychotherapist, and a profiler. So I want to just thank you so much for all your kind comments and all your purchases. Also want to talk about our memberships. We're still thinning that out, going through it and figuring out how we're going to do it. We will be having private memberships, and we'll keep you posted on that as we refine it. We have to refine it. Please continue to comment. We love your comments. I try to gear these shows to try and stimulate your thinking, stimulate your mind. That's what we want you to do. We want you to join us in what we're doing, help us figure it out, think about it. We want you to exercise your mind, okay? So please continue to comment, and please subscribe if you haven't already. We truly love your subscriptions, and we can't thank you enough for that. Today, we're going to be talking again about could one man have done this? Part 50, could one man have killed Libby and Abby and staged or posed the scene? You know, that's the biggest question. Could one man just get away with doing this? So I think what we need to look at, some possibilities, some for instances. For instance, Brian Kohlberg, 4 murdered within minutes with a knife. Ted Bundy, 2 killed within minutes, bludgeoned and strangled. Okay, and that was down in Florida. Then we've got Danny Rolling, and we've got killed 2 on 2 separate occasions. 2 girls killed on 2 separate occasions within a matter of minutes. Again, stabbed. Richard Speck, how about this one? In Chicago, killed 8 nursing students, strangled and stabbed, or both. The point I'm trying to bring out is 1 killer, multiple victims within minutes. So when the question comes up, could one man have done this? I think history tells us, oh, yes. Very, very possible and even probable, based on the cases I've just read off to you. So this is something to keep in mind when you hear a lot of people saying out there, there's no way one person could have done this. Let me tell you something. When somebody's in that mode, in that killing mode, and that adrenaline is running, they cover a lot of ground in a very, very fast period of time. They're moving fast, okay? And their mind is on murder, and they've got murder on their mind, and that's just what it's all about. And in most cases, especially if it's sexual, it's about the fantasy. And they are really energized and moving quickly. The other thing I didn't like is people talking about why didn't law enforcement talk about the crime scene and publicize it when they first came across it? Well, really, is this even a question? Do you want the murderer to know what law enforcement knows? I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple. And that's why law enforcement buttoned it up. There's no question about it. Some of you have mentioned the powers to be. I think the sheriff coming out and saying there's no threat to the town or the public at large. Okay, I can agree with that. I understand this. Okay, that statement should have not been made. That statement should have not been made. I think that the suspect, and he's only a suspect and he's innocent to proven guilty, Richard Allen, was just a time bomb waiting to go off. Okay, and I don't know when or where or who would have been possible next victims, but I believe he's a suspect and he's been arrested and he's in prison for a reason. And I believe law enforcement has a lot more than we know about. Also, there's a question, blood on Libby's hands. Okay. And some people making remarks, well, there it is. There's the signature. There's the sign. Libby has blood on her hands. I mean, these are young girls, blood on their hands. Is it possible that if Abby was stabbed first and there's blood on the knife, that if he then went to attack Libby, that there was some kind of self-defensive wounds on her hands and some of Abby's blood ended up on Libby's hands because of Libby using her hands trying to block the killer from stabbing her? I mean, you got to take all this into consideration. I would like to see if it's not Richard Allen and he's, certainly not the killer. If that in fact is true, then where was his phone? I mean, can his phone provide him an alibi? If he was not there with Libby and Abby, can his phone provide an alibi on where he was if he was in some other part of the town? Couldn't that be used as an alibi? I don't hear people talking about that. Another question I have is, what about the Odinites and their families? I mean, we have the defense to put on all these various names, and I'm sure some of these guys have families. I mean, how is this dripping down on their families and their children if they are alleged or being suggested in any way, shape, or form that they're child killers and were involved in a satanic ritual in which they sacrificed two young, beautiful girls? I just don't understand, how names can be put out there and what the expectation is of how some people are going to interpret this and focus in on them and their families. I mean, I can't imagine my child going to school and somebody saying, "Hey, I heard your father's a child killer. I heard your father's the bridge guy. I heard your father killed these two girls, Libby and Abby, up by the bridge," or getting beat up at school, or ending up in any kind of controversy at all with schoolmates. There's just a lot of shame and humiliation involved in somebody calling your father a child killer and having that circulate. Because there's a lot of people out there that are looking at the Odinites. What about the Odinites and their families? And do we have any physical proof at all? Any physical proof? Please bring it out. That an Odinite can be connected to the murders of Libby and Abby. Where is the evidence? Where's the beef here? Okay, a lot of talk going on out here, but I don't see the physical evidence. I don't see any at all. On the other side, with Richard Allen, we do see a considerable amount of physical evidence. So, I guess we're going to have to wait and see more. Because personally, where I'm sitting, I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors here, and trying to quash the search warrant of his house. And I know there was a certain amount of information gathered at his house from what we've been told. And some of it included various devices. I'm interested in seeing what's on those devices. Okay, so I'm waiting to see what all happens here. So we'll see if the search warrant gets thrown out or not, maybe next week. Something else, when we get into the Odinites, and since their names are out there and, people know who they are, and obviously law enforcement definitely knew who they were. Don't the Odinites, or some of the Odinites, have phones too? Don't they carry phones? Wouldn't law enforcement have been able to see if their phone numbers coincided with the bridge that day, or across the creek and into Ron Logan's property? I mean, wouldn't law enforcement have the technology and the ability to know where these Odinites were that day? Like I said, wouldn't law enforcement know where Richard Allen was that day? I mean, at approximately that time, where was he? His phone, did he have a phone on him? Did the Odinites have phones on them? These are all good questions, but don't forget, those phone numbers and that kind of tracking can say a lot, really can say a lot about where a person was and if they were in a particular area or not, because the Odinites never said they were in the area. But Richard Allen said he was in the area that day on that bridge, looking at the fish, okay? And, he put himself there, all right? So, that's just the way this rolls, And I'm wondering when he put himself there. Did he decide to go to the service or conservation officer, whoever that gentleman was, that law enforcement official, that he did tell that he was there that day and on the bridge that day, but did not see the girls? Was that after the video came out? Before the video came out? I'd like to see more clarification on that. Okay. Well, anyway, that's what I have for today. Truly appreciate all of you. Appreciate your comments. We're interested in getting your mind going, having you thinking, and there's a lot here to think about. Again, Richard Allen is absolutely innocent, proven guilty in a court of law, and looks like he may have that opportunity. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the search warrants. We have a lot going on. We do not cover this in detail. We will not be covering it in detail if there's a trial. I would suggest that you check with Grizzly True Crime. Grizzly usually covers trials extremely well and in a comprehensive manner. So anyway, to all of you, thank you so much. Please subscribe if you haven't. Keep us in mind, and stay safe out there. These are very violent and dangerous times. Thank you so much. And until next time, God bless.